all for this series of Searching the Truth. Once again today, I'm so happy to meet you in this new episode. Today I would like to talk to you about a verse from Jeremiah. In Jeremiah chapter 33 and verse 3, it's a beautiful verse, a well-known verse, where it says, the verse begins with, "Call to me, and I will answer you, and tell you great and unsearchable things you do not know." The beginning of the verse, it starts with, "Call to me." So, a question raised in my mind, why is the Lord asking to call? What is the reason? Why would the Lord want Jeremiah to call? Whenever we are looking for an answer, we just need to go to the previous verse or we need to read the previous chapter. We are going to look at verse 1. In verse 1 it says, "While Jeremiah was still confined in the courtyard of the guard, the word of the Lord came to him a second time." Jeremiah is in a situation. He is locked up in the courtyard of the guard. Jeremiah was chosen to be a prophet. He is just speaking the word of God. Whatever God puts in his heart, he was just speaking. And the more he spoke the word, the more things were against him. People were against him. The king was against him. He was arrested and put in the courtyard. Now imagine, Jeremiah was in a very depressed situation. He was not able to understand what is happening. He couldn't see God intervening on his behalf. Many times we have the same feeling. I am doing God's work. I am doing the right thing. There is no mistake in me. I am perfect. I am super good. But still, why is nothing happening to me? Why am I not getting the promotion? Why am I not being protected? Why am I being deceived? Why all those who are not honest are always being lifted up? There are lots of questions which arises in our mind. It keeps running in our mind, unanswered questions. And I imagine that Jeremiah would also be having such questions in his mind, because he knows that the hand of God is upon him. He knows that what he spoke is from the Lord. But when he is in trouble, he could not find God helping him. Sometimes we do God's work, we do ministry, and there are so many offenses happening around us. We are so truthful to the Lord. In the sight of all the people, we are like the bad people. Even though we are so concerned, still, people don't value us. People don't identify us. Here, Jeremiah was confined in the courtyard because nobody identified him as a prophet. They were not ready to listen to him. And in such a situation, people were rejecting his prophecies. People want the king wanted Jeremiah to just shut his mouth. In this situation, Jeremiah I believe he didn't even have words to pray. He didn't even know what to ask God. He was so depressed, his heart was so heavy, he couldn't pray. He was in pain in the mind. And that's when the voice of God says to him, "Call to me, and I will answer you." In our deepest, when there is, in our deepest pain, in our deepest darkness, there is a voice which says, "Call to me, call to me." Because He's not a God who does not answer your prayers. He is a God who not only listens to you, He sees you. He sees your situation. He sees your heart. He knows that your heart is in pain, and He comes into your deepest darkness and in your deepest pain, and He says, call to me. There are things which you don't know. Eremia, there are things which you don't know. You have so many questions before you. You have been asking so many things, but you also don't know something. There are things which you don't know, which you still have not understood. That's where, because, he knows that God is with him. He could see the presence of God. He could hear the voice of God. He could see the visions of God. But his situation is worse. God says, call to me, and I will answer you. And then he says, and tell you great and unsearchable things you do not know. There is something which you do not know. Great and unsearchable things. Today, God is inviting us to a place which we do not know, which is beyond our imagination, which is very great, which is unsearchable. We have never heard of it. You have never seen it. God is telling to Jeremiah, come, I'm inviting you to a place which you do not know. This is a very challenging thing. It's not easy. Because if we need to understand God, we need to be ready to go to the place where He is calling you. He is calling you to a place, great and unsearchable things, beyond imagination. And that is where you will find your answer. That is where you will find your answer. May this word bless you all. Thank you.